Okay, so student, this is the first chapter of economics, which has been introduced in ninth class. Earlier you were not learning it as a particular subject, but you were learning this in geography somewhere. So we will be learning it differently, and it's not like going to be very difficult. I think it is the easiest thing in your whole social science syllabus of class 9. So let's begin. So first chapter is the story of village Palampur, and village Palampur is not actually a village. Like this is not the description of a village of India, but in India, if you see any village, typical village, that is like this. So this is a hypothetical village, which is like imaginary village, you can say. So it's an imaginary village, and the main activity of any village in India is farming. So farming is the main activity in Palampur, whereas several other activities such small scale manufacturing, dairying, transport, etc. Like we have shops also, small shops, grocery shops. So they are also the part of their economic activities. I think you understand what is the meaning of economic activities, because you learned about it in 8th class also. Economic activities are basically those activities which are done to earn money or to survive, like the livelihoods, okay, and are carried out on a limited scale. So these are done on a very limited scale, like the secondary activities which are being done there, or you can say the other activities other than the farming. So these production activities need various types of resources, natural resource, man-made items, human efforts, and money. So we all know that any production, if done, like even if you're doing agriculture, you need certain things, and they are the basic requirements. Like if you're doing agriculture or manufacturing, you need a land where you will start plowing and sowing seeds, or in terms of like factory, so you need to like make a factory over there. Then you will start fixing your machines over there. So you need a land basically. So the land is the most important requirement for production, right? Then there will be money required, because you need certain things like raw material, seeds, machines. Like I'm talking about both the things, manufacturing plus agriculture. So you need all these things. So for that you need money, okay, and money which is invested in any kind of production work will be known as capital. Now capital can be of two types. We'll be learning it in details further. Palampur is a well connected. Now it is telling about the description, like how will you imagine a village. So there are certain things which you can close your eyes and just imagine that these are the things in the village. So Palampur is a well connected village with neighboring villages and towns. So Raiganj is a big village in 3 kilometers away from Palampur, and all weather road connects the village to Raiganj. So like it's a well connected village, okay. And further on, the nearest small town of Shahpur, so there is a town also connected. So in the like if you want to understand the difference between a town and a village, you can say that village is a like unique thing where you find certain features, and city is a unique thing again. But in dono ka where the transition takes place, that is going to be known as town, okay. So in town you will find some features of city also, and some feature of a village also. So this is that, the Shahpur. Then many kinds of transport are visible on this road, starting from bullock carts, tonga, buggies. Buggies are basically the wooden cart drawn by the buffalo, loaded with jaggery. Jaggery is also made up of sugarcane, like sugar, but the process is different. And other commodities to motor vehicles like motorcycle, jeeps, tractors, and trucks. So there is a well developed transport, we can say, in the like nearby the village. Now we will know more about the village. So the village has about 450 families belonging to several different castes. So in the village, the caste system still prevails. So we can see that there are different castes living in the village, The 80 upper caste family own the majority of land in the village. So as we know already from 8th class, there were different castes in India, and that was a kind of evil thing for us, for our society, but still it is being prevailed in certain villages of India. And there is lack of awareness of the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the constitution, so they still follow it somewhere. The 80 upper caste families own the majority of the land in the village. Their houses, some of them quite large, are made up of brick with cement plastering. And the SCs, the Dalits, actually, you know about the Dalits. So, Dalits comprise 1/3 of the population and live in one corner of the village. So, 1/3 population means 150 family belongs to, like that, Dalits. You can say, so scheduled caste people they are. So that is 1/3 population of the whole village, and live in one corner of the village in much smaller houses. So their houses are made up of mud and straw. And if we talk about the big or upper caste families or big farmers, they have good houses. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the field and is used in various types of small businesses. So one more quality we can see, feature, that in villages nowadays electricity is also accessible, and these people also have electricity, due to which tube wells which are used to irrigate the fields are being run, and is used various types of small businesses. So it is also the electricity helps to grow the small businesses too. Palampur has 2 primary schools and 1 high school. So they have education, like they have means of education also. Well, although they are like very less in numbers, but still there are 2 primary schools and 1 high school. There is a primary health center also, which is run by the government, and 1 private dispensary where the sick are treated. So you just imagine these things and you will understand how the village is like structured in India. And like any village in India, you can just imagine and you will get to know. Because if I see all these things, if I imagine all these things, I see one of the villages of India, like I can imagine. So yes, this is imaginable. Organization of production. So as I told you, when we do production, we need certain things, right? That is the organization of production, or you can say the requirements of production, or you can say the factors of production. So there are 4 things which are required when you start any type of production activity. So the first thing which you can say is land, which is fixed, which cannot be changed. Then we have labor. Labor is always required in like physical terms. You need, somebody needs to work there, that is labor. Then physical capital. So physical capital, which like you can have in your hand, that is physical capital. So physical capital can be like tangible, you can say. So the physical capital can be categorized into 2 parts. One is fixed capital, other is working capital. So fixed capital may you can take land also, you can take big machineries also, because these are the things which you don't change again and again. But there are certain things which are like variable, like they are working capital, they can be changed time to time. Like the raw material, you change it according to the need of your production. So working capital, and money can also be the working capital, because sometimes you have more money, sometimes you have less money. So that is also counted as working capital. We have 4th requirement, that is human capital. And why I was telling you that you are learning something from your geography of 8th class, it is because we are talking about human capital, and you learned about human capital or human resource in last chapter of geography. So that's why it is connected, and you will be easily understanding these things. So let's talk about the factors of production, requirements of production, or basic need of production in 4 like different parts. So first is land. Land is fixed and scarce, because we know it's fixed and the population is growing day by day, and our need or production is also growing day by day. So we know that land is scarce for us, it is not that much for us. So there's not method by which the land can be increased. So there's no method we can increase the land. The growth of population has increased pressure on land. I was telling you that as soon as the population is growing, we need more of or more from the land. We need food, we need schools, we need residential place. So a lot of requirements are there. So we need land in these all we can say aspect. Division of property through subsequent generations has resulted in agricultural plots becoming much smaller. This has also affected the scale economies in farming. So we know that in our country there is according to the Hindu Succession Act, the land property will be distributed further in the coming generation by father. So due to that, suppose one person was having 100 hectare of land and then he had 4 sons, so the land will be divided into 4 parts, so it will be becoming 25 each, 25 hectare each. So in that way what will happen, the land will be getting smaller, like it will be divided into smaller plots, and when there's smaller plots the production becomes difficult, like it is not going to be that efficient as it was earlier on the larger plot. So that is a problem related to land. Then labor is available in plenty because of a huge army of unemployment. So we know unemployed people are a lot in our country, and due to which everybody is ready to work in those fields or anywhere where they get the work for their survival, for their livelihood. So we have a huge army of labor, or you can say unemployed people in our country. Many people from the poor section are illiterate and hence have to work as unskilled labor. So we all know that if we want to work in a good place or want to earn more, we have to be educated, we have to be skilled, right? Suppose you have the examples of your parents who are working in good firms and earning sufficient for you, but you see a labor, they work hard day and night and then they earn their livelihood every day. So this is the condition of unskilled laborer, and that's why government needs to look into that matter and give some training to these people. The government provides guidelines on minimum wages from time to time. So one thing which government is doing is fixing the minimum wages, like below that unit or money you cannot give laborers like any money. Like suppose government has fixed it 600, so nobody per day, 600 per day, so nobody will be giving less than that. But in the villages what happens, that people don't know about such things, and also they are so like we can say they are in the condition, is not in the condition to fight for their rights. So they do whatever is like given to them, and they work on whatever salary they are being paid. So that is the condition. But because of less demand and huge supply of labor, there are many cases where the farm workers may not be getting even the minimum wage. So in your book it is also written that the person is getting very less amount and still he or she is doing the work in the field. That is just because the population is huge which is unemployed. Physical capital. Now we'll talk about the capital. Physical capital basically is the variety of inputs required at every stage during production. So as I said, physical means something which is tangible, right? It can be raw material, it can be money, it can be machines, it can be land, anything, you know. So that is physical capital. Now it is required at every stage, you know. We know that we need, first of all we need land, so we need to purchase it, so we have to give money. Then we need seeds, raw material, right? So that also has to be purchased, so for that also you need money. So this is the way how we need physical capital. And then physical capital according to like their need, it is divided into two part. First is physical capital and other is working capital. Tools, machines range from very simple tools such as farmers plow to sophisticated machines such as generators, turbines, computers, etc. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years and are called fixed capital. So we know these things are like once purchased, you don't need to purchase it again in the next year. It works for a long time of long time. So yes, you need to understand this, that this is known as fixed capital, when you don't have to purchase thing again and again, and it is going to work for the longer period of time. Next we have working capital. So production requires a variety of raw materials such as the yarn used by the weaver, the clay used by the potter, and also some money is always required during production to make payments by other necessary items. Raw materials and money in hand are called working capital. So as I told you, so when you do production, you require raw material, and raw material can be changed again and again, right? After every year you can like think of growing something else on your field. Like in the first year you want to grow rice, other year you want to grow wheat, or in the same time in 2 seasons you want to grow different crop. So you will be having different raw material. So that is how it changes time to time. So that's why it is known as working capital. And money, of course, it is required at every stage, and that's why it is known as working capital. So I hope you understood the differences between working capital and physical capital, which are the types, or we can say categorization of physical capital. Now fourth requirement for production is human capital, and a person also needs the knowledge and enterprise to effectively manage production. So basically the knowledge is very much required, skills are very much required, and then only a person can become human capital or human resource. We all know in most of the cases certain knowledge is passed down through generations. Government has also taken initiative to improve the knowledge of farmers. So farmers, because it's a traditional work in our country, and it's been done from the primitive times, so we have certain generations who already know about it, but the government is also trying to train people, giving them special training in farming so that they can do it efficiently. What is the factor of production? Every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital and human capital, which are known as factor of production. So I was telling you from the beginning that there are certain requirements, there are certain factors which are required to produce, right? So these are basically the factors of production. You should answer these questions when you're learning. You should read the book, because there's a lot to learn. This video can be taken as a revision video, but you should read the book once you get the understanding. Okay, now as we know, land is fixed, so we'll talk about the Palampur village. What is happening over there? Okay, like how the land is distributed, how they are growing things on the land, and how they are managing land, and what are the different problems they are facing while using the land. So we'll be learning it. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur. 75% of the people are working and are dependent on farming for their livelihood. So in every village in India, if you go, most of the people are engaged in farming. So in the same way, 75% of the people are dependent on farming in Palampur also. They could be farmers or farm laborers. So everybody cannot be farmer directly because they don't own the land. There are very many cases where you find the people are working on others' fields. So they are not the farmers, they are the farming laborers. Okay, farm laborers. So there are the cases in Palampur villages also, such things are also happening there. There is a basic constraint in raising farm production. The problem which is there in farm production, what is the problem? Land area under cultivation is practically fixed. So we all know that land is a fixed entity and it cannot be increased like in any way. So that is a fixed entity, and that is a big problem for them because the population is growing continuously. Since 1960s in Palampur, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. By then, some of the wasteland in the village had been converted to cultivable land. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to use that land which are not being used in anything, like which are you can say which can be the barren land also, where there's no fertility. So to increase the fertility, what they have done, they have used chemical fertilizers, they have used proper irrigation methods, techniques. There exists no further scope to increase the farm production by bringing new land under cultivation. So after that, there is no other way to increase the land area under the cultivation. Okay, is there any way one can grow more from the same land? So when we know that land is fixed, we need to find out the other way, because we have the need, we know that population is growing, we cannot control that much. So we have a growing population and we need food for them. So what can be done with the fixed land? How can we produce more with that land? So we can do, or Palampur, what Palampur has done, we'll see. Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. All land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. During the rainy season, Kharif farmers grow jowar and bajra. So we all know that there are basically three types of farming seasons. One is Kharif, other is Rabi, and there's one more, that is Zaid. So if you talk about Kharif, it is the season when you can say monsoon hits India, and the other season is when monsoon retreats, which is Kharif Rabi season. So, and the third one is the transitional phase, which is around March to May, I guess. So these are the three seasons, and they are talking about the rainy season, Kharif season, when they grow jowar and bajra. These plants are used as cattle feed, and it is followed by cultivation of potato between October and December. In the winter season, that is Rabi season, they grow, see, potato, and this cultivation of potato is also the part of Zaid. Fields are sown with the wheat in the winter season. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for the family consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market or at Raiganj. So they have enough production, we can see. That's why they have this surplus part. Surplus means always the extra thing, which is like after consuming what is left, that is surplus. So surplus part they sell it to the other village, that is Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once every year. So they are growing sugarcane also. Sugarcane in its raw form or as jaggery is sold to traders in Shahpur. So Shahpur is a town, and in the town manufacturing happens. So they are selling the sugarcane to Shahpur, where they can convert it into sugar directly, or they can convert like in village of Palampur, they convert it into jaggery and they sell it to Shahpur town. So this happens. Okay, now this big paragraph you see, like it is all about green revolution, because as it is telling in the last part that Palampur seems to be a village in the western UP, western Uttar Pradesh. And if you know a little bit about green revolution, it was the time period when in 1960s, around 1960s, when India was facing scarcity of food, and we were having no way to come out of it. So at that time, father of green revolution, who is known as Mr. Swaminathan, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, who died recently, like in the last year. So he suggested, or he introduced HYV seeds to India, and the farmers of Haryana, Punjab and western UP, they adopted it, and then the production grew like anything. So that's why it is known as Green Revolution period. Let's read about it. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding variety of seeds. So that is high yielding variety means HYV seeds. So in exams sometimes it is asked what is the full form of HYV. It's now very easy to answer, but yes, you should know about it. High yielding variety, like it is giving more of production. Okay, compared to the traditional seed, HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amount of the grain on a single plant, and as a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantity of food grains than the possible earlier. So earlier it was not possible that much to grow, but with the help of high yielding variety of seeds, we started growing like in a huge amount the wheat and rice. So it was a good thing. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantity of the food grains was possible earlier. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce best results. See, when you use certain kind of scientific treated seeds, they will need something more, okay, because they are producing more, so they need more of irrigation, they need plant protection from the weeds and pests, so weedicides required, pesticides required. So these things were all chemical which was required to give the best result. Higher yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides. So only HYV seed was not enough. It required irrigation, pesticides, fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, weedicides, all of them. So then it only resulted in a positive way. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana and Western UP, Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out modern farming method in India. So you should remember this thing. The farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation, made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, pesticides in farming. Some of them bought farm machinery like tractors. So we can say they involved technology also. So they used tractors, threshers, such kind of machines which made plowing and harvesting faster. They were rewarded with high yields of wheat. Now this was the reward which came in short term, but it had some long term negative impact on land as well. Let's talk about it. Will the land sustain? Yes, land, this is a big question. Let's talk about it. Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizer. So the natural fertility of soil has been lost, and now we have to be dependent on the chemical fertilizers every time. Also, the continuous use of underground water for tube well irrigation has reduced the water table below the ground. So the water was also decreasing underground, because we were doing a lot of irrigation, we were using a lot of machines, a powerful machine to take out the water from the ground. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over many years. Since destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. So as we can see, there are some negative impacts on land. We should understand that while doing development or while doing such kind of production activities, we should always remember that the natural resources are not going to be given back very soon, like it will take a long time. So for that reason, we should be very careful while using our natural resources. Now, how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? So in Palampur, the land was divided unequally, as we all have seen that there were some families, 450, out of which 150 were the SC family, And according to that, we can understand the land was also not distributed equally in that area. Let's learn about it. We have realized how important land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. In Palampur, about 1/3 of 450 family are landless. Like we were talking about that 1/3, and these people are not having land to do cultivation. More than half the area of village is covered by plots that are quite large in size. So half of them, like the people who belong to 80% of or we can say 80 families out of the 450, they belong to them, the large plots of land. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. So the land distribution is quite uneven, and we can see few people are having like no land, and some are having a lot of, and this creates that unevenness in the land distribution. So major crops which are grown over there is rice, wheat, jowar, bajra. These are the 4 crops which are actually grown over there. Now, who will provide the labor? Like we know that labor is again one of the factors. So who is providing labor in these fields? So after land, labor is the second necessary factor for production, and farming requires a great deal of hard work, because if you know that in rice farming you need a lot of labor, because in that you first sow the seed randomly, and then when they grow a little bit, they are being transplanted from there to some other field in a proper row. So that is very difficult part of the job, right? So that's why we can say it's a very hard work to do. Small farmers along with their family cultivate their own fields, thus they provide labor required for the families themselves, like their family help. And medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their field. So because the small farmers are having small plot of land, so they take help of their family members, but medium and large farmers, they have bigger plot of land, so they hire the farm laborers. Okay, so the capital needed in farming. We already know that modern farming methods require a great deal of capital, so that the farmers now needs more money than before. So their need became like more. Why? Because they have to use that HYV seeds. So HYV seeds are not going to be cheap, so they are costly. Then they have to use chemical fertilizers, again it is going to be costly. Then they need pesticides, again chemicals, they will be produced in the factory somewhere, so that is also costly. Then technology like tractor, tube wells, they are going to be costly. So more money is required. So most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. Now the small farmers cannot get it easily, because when they do farming, they don't keep money, they cannot keep money safe for the next year, so they have to borrow it from somewhere. So they borrow it from the large farmers or the money lenders. They borrow from large farmers or the village money lenders or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. The rate of interest on such loans is very high. They are put to great distress to repay the loan. And in contrast, the small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own saving from farming. They are thus able to arrange for the capital needed. So what you understood here, small farmers is always suffering. Small farmers are always suffering. How they are suffering? Like in the beginning, they don't have big land plot, so they could like difficultly they have their survival is difficult. And if we talk about their future, so they don't think about the future, they just live in the present. But when we talk about the large farmers, they have surplus amount of production, so they sell it and they keep money safe for the next time also. So they don't need borrow most of the time. Okay. Now, borrowing is a very difficult thing. When you borrow it from a money lender, they will charge high interest. When you go to the bank, you have to do a lot of paperwork. So, it is going to be quite difficult for small farmers who are hardly they are like educated. So, that is a very difficult thing for them. Okay, sell of surplus from products. The farmers have produced wheat on their land using the three factors of production. So the wheat is harvested and the production is complete. Farmers retain a part of the wheat for families' consumption and sell the surplus wheat. The traders at the market buy the wheat and sell it further to shopkeepers in the town and cities. Thus, they are able to arrange the capital for farming from their own savings. Some farmers might also use the savings to buy cattle, trucks, or to set up shop. So, when they have surplus, what they will do? They will sell it to the market. Okay, and they will earn money. And when they will earn money, that money will be used to do something else as well, for saving also, and to lend money also to the small farmers. So this way they utilize the money, and money makes money. That is proved here. Like if you have money, you will make more money. The rich farmers, they are already rich, but they have more money, they have surplus, so they grow more and more. So that's how the difference between a small farmer and a large farmer is growing in India, right? The small farmer are still suffering, and large farmers are becoming like businessmen. So dairy is a common activity in many families of Palampur village. Here it has been told, and people feed their buffalo on various kinds of grass and the jowar bajra that they grow during the rainy season. The milk is sold in Raiganj and the nearby village. The Raiganj, that is the nearby village. Two traders from Shahpur town have set up collection cum chilling centers. So in the town they are using that milk and started their chilling center. So they will be selling the different products which are like made from that milk. Transport, if we talk, there are variety of vehicles. We have already talked in the beginning, in the introduction part, and they have road connected to Raiganj and then Shahpur. So rickshaw wala, tonga wala, jeep, tractor, truck drivers, and people driving the traditional bullock cart and buggy are people in the transport services. So there are services also provided, and they ferry people and goods from one place to another, and in return they get paid for it. And the number of people involved in transport has grown over the last few years. So transport is actually growing, and thanks to Mr. Nitin Gadkari, our transport minister, who is developing well connected roads which are like now in better quality. So that's why transport is also growing. So this way the topic ended, and yes, you should learn the topic by reading the chapter as well, because when you don't read chapter, you don't understand. Although we have covered everything, but you should read. There are certain things like multiple cropping, in that what happens, in the same field you grow multiple crops, and you increase the production. Okay, and there is one more topic like Mishri Lal's topic, who was person who was growing sugarcane, and with that sugarcane there was a small mill in which he was converting it into jaggery. So there are 2-3 topics which are like in the boxes. You should learn about that from there. And yes, happy learning. Thank you for watching.